Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I was a little bit in the inside just in this moment. Just let me get this notification out here. Sometimes, quite often, we are over compulsed, paying too much attention and stopping ourselves from making movement because we're worried about what other people think. And just when I hit that let's go live, Cindy, I went, oh my goodness, I spilt my dinner down my sweatshirt. People can't see that. And I'm sorting out my sweatshirt and stuff. And I'm saying, oh my goodness, right? Is that what it's come to? Have I done all that work to be stressed out about a few little slobbery marks on my shirt? No. And it's good that I actually came in and said that because it's in hiding these small insecurities that we don't get to find the help or the resolution or the acceptance that Cindy's just a slob when it comes to din din. And it's why I don't wear white. And it's all honesty. I bought a white top, it wouldn't even last an hour. And that's a guarantee in that. And some people love white. Some people make that their main color in their clothing. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like to me, that would be a waste of money because it would be ruined by the end of the day. Right. But that is something that is so true. We spend too much time worrying about what other people think. Hello, Melvin. What's your good cheer today? Lots of good cheer today. What's the good cheer? Tell me what the good cheer was. I got a little bit of good cheer too. I'm not usually not without out some sort of um, happiness or joy or beautiful landscape in my life. I try to make sure those ingredients are in there every day. And everybody should do that for themselves. Lots of people think that, oh my goodness, I can't. I don't have anything. I don't have money. I don't have friends. I have nowheres to go. Well, can you walk to a park? Right? Can you sit by the river? Can you phone somebody and just tell them what the situation is, that you're just looking for somebody to have a conversation with? Are there community groups in your, excuse me, community groups in your neighborhood that you can contribute? Can you volunteer? Right? Can be a shoulder to cry on. Can you ride the elevators like the little old ladies in this building do constantly and just smile at people? Because even though you feel that way, you have to consider that other people feel that way too, right? And so, I always try to be in good shape. I've tried to my entire life, even in the most desperate situations when I didn't feel like it. It always served me to be right, forgiving, and to be easygoing. Right? There wasn't any point in butting heads and somebody says, I want to do this, and you go, I want to do this. Like, what's the point in that? At the beginning when somebody says, I want to do this, that the decision has usually already been made. And I'm usually one that will just flow with whatever the majority is. That doesn't mean that I don't put my beautification into whatever I'm doing, right? Of course I am. We're like a village. We all contribute the little bit that we're gifted in. You know, Joe might be the best blacksmith in the whole world, but he can't bake bread like Cindy can. And if my mule needs a set of shoes, right? Maybe Joe needs a couple of loaves of bread, right? He can't bake, but he can make horseshoes. And that's what it's all about, just helping each other out in those little bit of things that we're capable at that other people might not be capable at, right? Lots of people, well, everybody, in all honesty, has some kind of handicap, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. We all do. But again, like I said when I came in, we're so worried about what other people are going to think that we hide it, we disguise it, we cover it up with makeup, or we do plastic surgery, or we spend money on clothes, or we join golf courses that we can't afford, and go on trips that we can't afford, but we have these images that we've built up, and oh my goodness, the upkeep in something, right? Because it's gonna be a rough sea, and then there's that point of you can't fail, right? Oh my goodness, my friends are going to see me fail. My business has gone bankrupt. I'm going to lose my boat, and I'm going to lose my jet airplane, and right? And we're so worried about what other people think, and other people are really not thinking anything, in all honesty. And you might even get a little bit of compassion in that. Oh, poor Joe. Right? Oh my goodness. He took us to Jamaica on his jet every few years. He was such a nice guy. And look, he lost his jet, or he's going to lose his jet. And right? But then again, it's the person that you are, and the friendships, and the partnerships that you've made along the way, that when you hold people up, right? That people will hold you up too. Lots of times, because I held my sisters up, they held me up. And unfortunately, they held me up more than I think I was able to hold them up. I did my best, right? Each one of us does our very best by the own in our own families, right? But, sometimes we butt heads with each other. We have our own ideas. Sometimes we go off on our own adventures in life, and we create different lives that don't involve each other, right? I don't know why I'm going down that branch of the tree. But coming in, yeah, I noticed when I looked down, I went, oh my goodness, I slobbered down the front of my shirt when I was eating dinner tonight. And I just like, and then I was going like this as I hit the live button. I was just like, huh. And then I kind of give my little self in that span of hitting the button and going live. You got these conversations going on in my head. And I just like, Cindy, right? Right? That's not genuine. That's worrying about what other people think. And you know what? They probably wouldn't even noticed those spots on your shirt unless you even pointed it out. And that's the honest truth, right? We compulse about things that people aren't even paying attention to. We're all wrapped up in our own problems, in our own issues, in our own lives and adventures, right? That quite often it's not that we intend it to work out that way, but we have lives that don't connect, you know, well anymore. And sometimes we hold on to them for too long. I'm going down another branch here. We hold on to them, but it kind of runs in the same length, right? Because we don't move away from these relationships because again, we worry about what people will think, right? And so we let ourselves stay stuck in relationships. We leave ourselves just in a place where we are not doing ourselves any favors, where we're not making any movement forward. And in fact, if you're supposed to be somewhere else and you're still back there, I consider that the hamster wheel going backwards, because we're supposed to always be moving forward, and you should never be where you are tomorrow, right? Where you were today, right? There's always some type of change, something, right? And that's what causes depression, because people sit in amongst of all the wonder and all the majesty of all the wonderful things that life has to offer, and they're not seeing it and they're not feeling it, right? They lost that joy for the possibilities, and that's not something I ever want to lose out on. I am so grateful that I found YouTube, that I'm able to kind of grow and have that monologue, have that uh, album, right? It is an album. It is my, what do they call that? It's my chest of memories, even for myself. Like, I looked at my analytics and I have over 1,000 videos now. But I have been on YouTube for over 10 years. And, it's incredible to even think of going back to some of those very first videos that I posted and seeing where I was professionally and what I was doing, but how I presented myself in those videos. And then as I move along and, I find the mindset and I start moving into working in emotions, right? That I get to understand a little bit about dynamic families, and I find the topic so interesting. And then I tied in with the social anthropology and the archaeology, and it's a package, like with big red bows for me. Like, it's just the most magnificent little life that I creating for myself, right? And it's all being documented here on YouTube. And if I were to look back at some of those very first videos, yes, right? Maybe I might be a little bit embarrassed, but maybe I might not, because just like that stain on my shirt, in this moment, I am not so concerned about what people think. And, when I go back and look at those first videos, I would have to say, Cindy, so proud of you, right? I wouldn't be here right now if you hadn't made that decision to go into that abandoned building and walk on those second floors that didn't actually have any floors, right? Those adventures that connected me to nature, got me out on the back roads on my own, took me out of that busy, chaotic life that I had created for myself. I had created for myself a great big square box that I just securely put myself in and just kept myself safe and sound. And somehow, right, I got hooked on being a YouTube creator. And here I am now, right? Still moving along, still moving forward, still making mistakes. But at the same time, like I said, if I were to look back on some of those videos, I wouldn't be embarrassed. I wouldn't be ashamed. I would actually be very proud of myself, even as silly and as unrealistic and phony baloney as I was, because I was phony baloney, because in that nervousness we practice, because again we worry about what other people are thinking, right? And so we practice and practice makes perfect. Yes, that is true, but it also makes us stiff in some ways, right? Because that's what we're focused on, right? Don't distract me or I'm gonna flub my lines, right? And then we sequence our movements and it becomes a performance rather than something that's just comfortable in this moment, right? I have that prerogative to be casual, to be comfortable. This is how I connect and how I actually will build trust with the people that I work with, whether it's in with my families or my peers or my friends, right? I suspect it is in these movements and connections that we have with others that we find, right? Those little village where we can find where our gifts fit and are useful for other people. And then those other people, right, know how to do a little bit of blacksmithing and know how to make the horseshoes for my pony. Well, I'm not a big horse person. I do watch a few YouTube creator channels that do involve equestrian horses, and but it just happened on to that way, and these are vloggers, and because I have kind of a passion for vloggers because I consider myself a vlogger myself, right? That it's not the fact that they have the horses, because for myself I don't think that would ever be the route that I would want. I wouldn't want stables and horses. That's just not my thing. But I don't mind living vicariously through somebody else's experience where they're digging up the horse poop and I get to sit with my lovely cup of tea. I bought a new tea today and it's absolutely amazing. I made my second cup here. Yeah, not as good as the first one that I made, but I was running late for my live show. And so I really squished those tea bags and made them super strong. And I didn't let the tea bags just naturally steep in the hot water. So I can tell that it tastes a little bit different, but I'm still grateful for my lovely cup of tea, right? Gonna try and cut back coffee. I've been trying to cut back coffee for about a year now. I haven't been very good at it, but I continue to try to cut back coffee. But if I think of it in the long span of things, I probably eliminated 100 cups of coffee, say in the past 6 months, right? But it could have been a lot better than that. But I don't beat myself up in that because I'm a big believer in baby steps. And, as much as I fail, and there are times when I just go off, and then for 2 weeks I'm drinking nothing but coffee. And that's right. I like my coffee. I really do like my coffee, but drinking too much coffee makes me very acidic, and that's not super good for you all the time. Coffee is dehydrating in some ways, right? So that I'm not getting enough hydration. It's fine why I'm drinking my juice all the time. Good. Peach. Yeah, peach. It's a good one. Okay, you guys, we're just going to pick a card. We're going to go into the card for a couple of minutes. It's just my first perspective, and then we're just going to call it a night, right? Well, I won't call it a night. I still got to take care of the cat's needs here, and then, right, get my pajamas and relax, and right, see who is doing what today that I've missed. Oh, and by the way, I posted my trail walk, my last trail walk from my provincial park tour, and I posted that this afternoon. So if you want to go in, it's only a 25-minute video of me walking on the trail. Hope you find me to be good company, right? Go in, check it out, say hi to me, right? Say hi to me. And if you want to let me know what you thought of it, right? It's in the process. It's always in the process, and we're going to connect with what we connect with. And sometimes, again, we live vicariously through other people's experience. There's a lot of people out there who would just love to go out on a trail walk, but for whatever reasons, because life is busy, they don't have access to these park facilities, they physically couldn't manage it, right? They don't have a vehicle to get to the place, right? That there are lots of reasons that people aren't able to go out onto the trails. It's not that they don't want to. So, second best thing to do, I say, is connecting with Mother Nature is to connect in somebody else's experience. And you never know who you're going to connect with. Okay, you guys. Wow, what was I talking about tonight? That movement. Movement is an action that gravitates to the result, right? We just can't sit on our haunches and just hope and pray and wish for all the magnificence to come into our lives. That we have to make movement. For lots of us, though, change, we were talking about this yesterday, change is really, really difficult for us. It's really scary in all actuality. We like the comfy. We like the couch and the remote control. We like to hole ourselves up in those boxes. We like to be left alone. We like to go for the walks by ourselves, right? Right? We like to watch the world go by. And sometimes, again, because we worry about what other people think, right? Then we put ourselves in those busy situations that just drain us and bore us quite often, right? I've never had a problem in saying no in the invites, and that's the truth, right? I'd much rather spend time with myself doing what I like to do than spending time with other people doing what they like to do. Unless it's reciprocal, right? Lots of times there are adventures and experiences out there in life that that you both get out. You might not get the both thing, or uh, uh, you might not get you both might not get the same result, the same feeling out of the experience, but you'll both get something amazing out of it. And I am a believer. I'm a believer in that. It's just a matter of bumping into people along the way and not being afraid to have those conversations. But how can you do that if you're all boxed up? You can't make any movement at all because it's right too scary. And that's why I say the baby steps. Nobody is in a rush, right? Nobody is in a rush. And if you have a hard time living your own experience, maybe living vicariously, because I've done it for myself. I did it for a big part of my life. I learned lots being a spectator and a student, and that's what I utilized that span in my life, right? And it offered up a lot of lessons in that, right? But I've always been that person making that movement forward, right? Just baby steps, just a little bit, just enough that we go, ouch, okay, that was good enough for today. We'll try again tomorrow. Until eventually, 10 years later, you can sit in front of the camera and just have a conversation and just not worry about what other people think. Okay, you guys. That's my good chair. And we'll see you tomorrow.